Hey, this week I'm here with David and we're going to talk about fitness and all other things fun. Also, David's really good at sales, if you do want to talk about that or not. And we've also got a good passion for CrossFit, and we share similar interests in weights, obviously.
Absolutely.
Because as David's already now admiring the table weight holding down our microphones. So my main thing is talking about fitness and how it's helped me get to where I want to go at the moment. And you and me have obviously become friends through New Wave. And, you know, we've got similar... You've seen me go up and down with my career and everything like that. But generally, like, tell us a bit about your fitness journey to end up meeting crazy Rupert down at New Wave.
Yeah. I used to do a lot of sort of sport and activity when I was a kid. Like growing up, I used to sign up for pretty much any sports team that going. I was crap at football and cricket, so I didn't do that. But I did sort of rugby and athletics and running. I did middle distance running. I threw the javelin, was area javelin champion, and did cross country running. I just signed up for everything. So did that probably until about the age of 20 or so. So I was just sort of naturally active, more just because it was the fun thing to do, and it's what we did for entertainment.
Yeah.
Then I got to sort of about 20, and gradually that, or rapidly, that tapered off. And I wasn't very physically active for a long time, probably until about the age of 40-ish or something like that. And I was just sort of gradually getting unfit, unhealthy, putting on weight, and it just sort of was just gradually sort of incrementally getting less fit and healthy. And I started going to the gym because I wanted to sort of fix that. And that was okay. I used to go a couple of times. I thought I would do what I was doing well if I went 3 times a week. Probably most weeks I was going 2 times a week, and I didn't really know what I was doing. It was a bit haphazard, and I did what I felt comfortable with.
Yeah, no classes or anything like that.
No. I tried a class once, but didn't really like it. But that's what I was doing to try to get fit and healthy, and I started to lose weight, which was good.
And you were a dad at that point, or even by 40?
I was a stepfather.
Stepfather, yeah. Right? Yeah.
I was a stepfather at the age of about 40.
Yeah.
So I was going to the gym. In fact, my stepdaughter Kimberly introduced. She does CrossFit.
Okay.
And it was her that introduced me to CrossFit. She and her husband. She lives in Miami. And my wife and I were visiting them, and she'd previously bought me as a Christmas present a sort of a taster session at New Wave. So I'd gone along and done a taster, but hadn't really sort of was still a bit sort of unsure of it from that. But then Tess, my wife, and I, we were visiting them in Miami, and they were going down to a CrossFit session at their local CrossFit gym, and so they said to me, "Just come along with us, come along." So I went along to just sort of some random CrossFit class that they were doing, and I loved it. It was great. So literally the next day that I got back, that we landed back from that trip to Miami, I signed up again. I signed up at New Wave and became a member that day, and that was April 2018. So just over 5 years ago.
Wow.
And haven't looked back. So
haven't looked back. No.
Kind of that's how I came across CrossFit, and it solved all of the challenges that I had about why going to the gym was a little unrewarding, because I didn't really know going to the gym. I simply didn't really know what I was doing. Didn't really enjoy it that much. Felt more of a chore and more of an obligation. And I don't have any of those challenges with CrossFit. It's like fun, doesn't feel like a chore. I look forward to it.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about what I'm doing because it's all taken care of. It's like a sort of off the shelf fitness hour. It's sort of everything's taken care of for you. The warm up through the coaching, through the actual workout itself, and the stretching and all the sort of community and support that comes with it. It's sort of like plug and play fitness.
Yeah. Okay. So without it being a massive advert for CrossFit though, which I do love CrossFit. Generally, I think so. Like, why do you think sometimes is it because you're obviously successful as well? Why is it sometimes do you think guys maybe just can switch off of fitness for 20 years, like, or 10 years? Is it something in our brain that we like maybe weigh up a priority schedule? Like, when like, do you feel like we go all or nothing? Especially because now we're into CrossFit. It's like all into CrossFit. Got the shoes, got the bag, got the t-shirt. Literally 5 t-shirts, right? But like, but when we want our career to kick off, do you find that like we also just put our head down? Like, whereas now you get a lot of young people, and they're like all about holistic lifestyle. Like, I must go to the gym. I wake up at 5 a.m. I have my ice bath, and then I go to the gym, and then I go to work. Whereas, I don't know, when I ended up not going to the gym and I had a big fitness background, I was just like, I've just got to work all hours of the day.
Right.
No, I don't know.
I think a couple of things. I think...
You think a couple of things. I like that. For those of you at home, he's got a few points now.
I think it helps if you enjoy it.
Yeah.
A friend of mine once said to me that, and this is when I was sort of looking for something to do that was physical, and she said, you've got to find something you enjoy. So that because if you don't enjoy it, it's a chore, and you have to work hard to sort of fit it into your day, and it always feels like a burden. So I think part of the challenge is if you don't enjoy doing it, then that's a big hurdle to overcome, to actually find time. You'll find all kind of excuses why not to do it. And then secondly, absolutely, there's a whole slew of things that are a call on people's time during the day between, even if you wake up early. Waking up early is only going to add an extra hour or so, unless you're going to wake up at like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And people have got jobs and life and other hobbies and family.
Yeah.
To sort of fit around that. And I think that's the challenge. I think partly, I think one of the things that's given me more time to do CrossFit in the past, particularly in the past few years, is like the change in lifestyle, because now it's easier to work from home. There's less time commuting. I used before lockdown, I used to spend 2 or 3 hours most days traveling into London and back, and that now evaporated. I now do that once a week or twice a week rather than 5 days. So that clears out a lot of time.
True.
In
there is
the
that,
day. But I think that's down to individual circumstance.
Okay, but let me be a bit of a linker in here, right? So if I was to ask for like sales, so let's make it more relatable to like sales and time frames, right? A salesman can look at, I need to do 8 hours of cold calling, right? And then I won't have time to go to the gym. But here, how about this? How do you find that, like, if you go to the gym for an hour and you do 6 hours of cold calling, because you've been to the gym, you feel so much more like energized or invigorated? I mean, do you know? And like you make a higher conversion rate. So it's more like working smarter, being in a better mood to then like make the results. Whereas I don't know, it's just an idea.
I think one thing I think is true is that time blocking. So we train this with people when we're training people who need to cold call, because cold calling is one of those things that people don't like to do.
No.
And they'll find all kinds of reasons to avoid doing it.
Like doing cardio or burpees.
Rather than it being on a to-do list. So you get up in the morning and think, oh, today I've got to do 2 hours of cold calling. Oh, and I should go to the gym. And you just sort of work through your to-do list. The things that you don't like doing will always be the last things you do, because there'll be something else that comes on your to-do list. So to fix that, you just need to time block it in your calendar. So in your diary, you've got cold calling from 10 until noon, let's say.
Yeah.
And so if you block then on your calendar, going to the gym from 7 until 8, and then figuring out, so you don't wake up in the morning and every day your challenge is going to be, you've got this whole task of figuring out, what am I going to do? How am I going to organize my day? And it becomes a bit sort of disorganized and chaotic. Just plan out your day, get into that, because what you want to do is build habits.
Brilliant.
This is what I do here, and it just you don't think about it. You just get up and automatically do it.
So build a habit, to get started to do something new. So
Yeah.
whether it is even just converting more sales, or if it is, in my cases, for guys who will be watching this or whatever, I speak to a lot of guys and they're like, Rupert, the last thing I want to do right now is make time to go to the gym. You know, I'm overweight or I'm not fit. I've been so busy. I'm stressed. Like I need to change my job. I need to get a promotion. I need to do this. They cannot see that building a new habit around going to the gym or adding in fitness to a busy diary would make any sense.
Yeah.
But yet I try and explain that it helps, you know, change your mind, change your mood set, helps make that other time in your day more efficient, you know, like,
Absolutely.
I don't know. Yeah, it's just...
You were asking earlier about some of the similarities between sales and CrossFit or whatever fitness you're doing. And yeah, there are a lot of things you can do so that it becomes just habitual. That this is just, it just sort of, it's built into your life. It's part of who you are as a person, and you don't sort of second guess yourself, and it just becomes something that you do almost automatically.
Well, you can also gamify things. Have you heard of this gamify word at the moment?
Yeah.
People get, like, same with power hours. Like, you remember, like, classic sales team always in the afternoon after lunch, right? Let's have a quick huddle. How do we get everybody energized to go again? I know, let's have a power hour. You know, back in the old days, like, first person to get to 30 calls or whatever in an hour, and you just go nuts. Like
yeah, there's have you read? There's Atomic Habits. Have you read the book Atomic Habits?
Yes.
So there's a lot of things in that book. The sort of principles that James Clear talks about that you can use to develop habits. So he talks about them in general for anything you do in life. How to create a new habit. And there's roughly 12 things you can do to create any new habit. You can apply that to sales. I look at that and think, how can I apply that in a sales environment to help people to create new habits at work? But exactly the same things apply if you wanted that new habit to be, how can I do more exercise, build fitness into my life more? All the same things apply in terms of looking at what are the things I can do to prevent those things that get in the way of me having these new habits. What can I do to remove those things that get in the way, and what can I do to make adopting that habit easier? So they apply, the same things apply. So we can talk about diet. I'd be happy to talk about. I lost.
Yeah.
Roughly,
We're talking now.
Roughly 50 pounds.
50 pounds. So that's 20.
I was 226, and
Yeah.
I went from 226 down to 266. That's 60 pounds. But then I put on about, I'd lost too much weight, and then I put on about another 10 or 15 pounds.
Right. But that's probably muscle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, we don't have to talk about anything. What I'm saying is that
No,
sometimes
I think that's a good thing.
makes it relatable, that people don't just think that we're just like CrossFit cultists that have made this stuff up in our head, that we actually came from a background where we found fitness. So back to that time where, you know, you offered to go to the new wave, you know, you'd fallen out of fitness since doing the javelin and cross country running, right? What is it that starts to make you feel like you got to go back to fitness? Is it, you've had a Bupa checkup and a private healthcare, or somebody said...
I don't think there wasn't any sort of major life event that was a sort of a wake-up call. I think I was just conscious of gradually I was getting less and less healthy and putting on more and more weight. And it was a sort of a slow sort of downward slope.
Yeah.
And if I didn't do anything to change it, it was just going to keep... There's no... It's hard to get that sort of steady state where you're just sort of staying some level of fitness. It's either you're getting more fit or you're getting less fit.
I feel like that this week.
choose which of those paths you want to go down. And I wanted to go. I'd rather be on the getting more fit path than the less fit path.
I felt a bit unfit when I did a pack of custard creams yesterday at work.
Yeah.
Like the whole pack. And it was just, the person sitting next to me today when I had the ginger nuts, she went, "You're not going to eat that whole pack of ginger nuts, are you?" And I went, not now you've told me, no. I like that. Am I in the downward spiral or the upward spiral?
Right.
And equally, you can take small steps from that as well. Like, you can say, I'm on the upward spiral. So it's like positive mental attitude. I'm on the upward spiral. I may not be an athlete, but I've made a few changes this week to get on that.
Yeah, I think, but not to go on too much about the Atomic Habits book, but that's one of the things. In fact, the first thing he talks about in that book about building healthy habits is, rather than thinking, I want to do this healthy habit, you got to, or whatever the habit is, I want to do this habit. You got to think more about who is the sort of person that does this thing. So rather than thinking, I want to go to the gym more, or I want to eat healthy, or whatever it is, just think you are a person who is a healthy person. You take care of yourself. It's an important part of your life that you eat quite well and you exercise. And that being a sort of what you think of as your personality is a key step to it being. Then these are the things that I do sort of fall out of that. And one of those things, I go to the gym, or I do some exercise. And some people might choose to go running or play
Walking.
some sport or something like that. And generally, I eat healthily.
But sorry, what does that do? You change your mindset to be that person.
Having that mindset is an important first step in adopting the habit, because then you're not fighting that it's not counter to your personality that there's this habit that you want to start adopting. It becomes, this is a part of who you are as a person, and so you eat healthily and you exercise, do some physical activity.
Yeah. Do you know, I'm sorry I'm smiling. It's just because I as we talked about this earlier, I'm not like a professional podcaster yet with a little notepad and I've got questions all lined up, but I can't help but always link it back to what your main career is. And it's like we were talking earlier about off camera about sales funks and being overly like needy or not needy, but it's that mental attitude, isn't it? It's that link. It's like if I feel like I'm gonna come across today as successful, as happy, as like, your tone of voice changes, your attitude changes, your body posture changes. So when you're on the phone, or perhaps, I don't know, writing an email, your tone might not change much, but you can, but so I think
your tone comes through in an
yeah,
email too.
yeah. It's like, no, I'm just, you really want to buy this today? It's like, no, you don't. So I think the reason I was tying it back in again is that what I was noticing was that what we're kind of asking people or not asking people, but an idea is just to fake it to make it. For that first 6 weeks of signing up for New Wave, I'm sure there were a couple of days in it where you were like, what am I doing? Like, what, why am I going here? Like, am I really going back again? Or were you all in at that point?
No, I think I was all, not to sound cultist, but
yeah.
I think I was all in on it, and partly because a lot of it was play. It felt like play. Like, yeah. I think one of the first, it wasn't the first class, but the second or third class I was in, we were doing rope climbs. I hadn't climbed a rope, I don't know, since I was like 9 or something like that. I'm sure I hadn't climbed a rope in secondary school. So
no, because you were never allowed to, because there was always some rule why the teacher didn't want. Yeah, well, the teacher didn't want to get them down, and it was like, I'm never going to learn to climb a rope.
But so I'm sure we did it when I was 8 or 9 or something like that. So I hadn't done it for 30 or 40 years. 40 years.
Amazing.
And so that was like playing. And so I think that's why what makes it is you find whatever you do, finding something that you enjoy.
Yeah.
And feels like fun makes it a lot easier to show up. I think that's somebody once, I don't remember where I heard this. Somebody said people say that in your job you should do what you enjoy.
Oh please,
it sounds like good advice, sure.
Yeah.
But somebody else points out, no, do what you're good at.
Yeah.
Because if you're good at something, you'll actually enjoy it. So find something that you're good at And I think that's why something like I think weightlifting, I think it's interesting. Because I mean, genuinely, I enjoy weightlifting. You see people genuinely enjoying weightlifting. But on the face of it, it's hard to see what you enjoy. So there's something heavy on the ground. Now pick it up and put it above your head. That's basically what weightlifting is. So
Yeah.
how can that be enjoyable? But it's because you get good at it. And you figure out in that, literally in that, with the snatch, particularly in a fraction of a second, you're taking some heavy bar on the ground and putting it above your head. And there's probably 30 different things you need to think about in that fraction of a second. And it's breaking that down into the minutiae detail and thinking about how can I do that better? How can I do that different? I bet most weightlifters don't ever think that they had a perfect lift. There's always something they think they could have done it a little bit better, a little bit differently, some element of it. And that's they get sort of engrossed in how can I be good at this? And that's what makes it enjoyable. You can enjoy weightlifting. I mean, I enjoy doing weightlifting.
Yeah,
And
no, I enjoy weightlifting. And I do think that generally, if I was coaching, and I am coaching all sorts of different types of people in different journeys, they're like, oh, what should I do? Like loads of people are like, what should I do? Should I do CrossFit, or should I do a normal 5-day, weightlifting split, or like a push-pull legs? It's like, just do anything.
Yeah.
You're almost designed right now to lose weight if you just stop putting so much food into you and burn some calories. Yeah. It's like our body actually will also store as much as you give it the opportunity to, but you'll lose weight pretty quickly if you do anything. You could do dog walking, you could do paddle boarding, you could do, I don't think darts will do it straight away.
I've seen those dart players.
Yeah. We played I can't pronounce it right. Boule or Platonk or whatever. And oh man, we had some big nights of playing that when I was in France. It was like whether you go.
Did it feel like physical exercise?
No,
I've never played it.
No. But it's an amazing game when you watch all these old dudes playing it. And I was saying to the guys, I was like, I wonder if they spend more time making the field just perfect for that one game. So it's not the actual playing of the game; it's all the work that goes into getting the field level.
It's the art of the game.
Yeah, but it was pretty cool. You could either go like overhand, like underhand, and go up, or like I don't think you're actually allowed.
Were you getting training, or did you figure this out on your own?
Yeah, we were just like pretending that we could do it. Like rolling it. Like if you go along the ground and then you hit a little pebble or rock, your ball will just go off to
it's
the
like
left.
with curling. That's why they have the people doing the brushes.
Now they definitely do lose some weight. Like,
But who was it? Where was it? I don't remember who the. In the 80s, there was a TV show called Superstars or something like that. They used to get. It was probably before your time. They used to get sportsmen, successful sportsmen from different sports that would compete in these sporting events against each other. And I don't remember who the motor racing driver was. Somebody like Nigel Mansell, but maybe not. The motor racing drivers, like the Formula One drivers, used to regularly beat everybody else, and they were again sort of Olympic athletes in these sort of fairly physical competitions. The Formula One drivers were beating all the other sportsmen regularly in more than one season, I think, and it just goes to show. Like something that doesn't look like a particularly physical activity, driving a car. All right, they've got to concentrate a lot.
Yeah.
And their reaction times need to be really sharp.
Really sharp.
But all kinds of sports will generate some sort of physical capabilities.
Yeah, but I think the more and more you then find out about Formula One, which we didn't know back then, because there was like the coverage was maybe different and the explanation of the cars and like the actual G-force that people are under. But yeah, no, they are like full-on athletes, and they have to stay within that peak range of body weight, and like they can't put on too much, and they're super strong because the car is like literally trying to pull itself off the road. But no, I wouldn't be surprised if they won a lot of those things. Gladiator's back. Did you ever watch that? It's a bit more that was more like mid-90s.
Yeah, I think I haven't ever seen it. I think that was
you never saw it.
I think I wasn't living in the UK when that was on.
Yeah,
but I heard about it, and Zach George is
no way
going to be in it. Yeah,
I didn't realise that.
What did they? I think his gladiator name is going to be Silver.
Okay.
Because his sort of CrossFit name is
Gorilla.
Silverback. So
yeah. Yeah. I did not see him on the first 12 that I saw, but then again, I know somebody's already got injured as well. So
I haven't seen that.
yeah. Yeah.
Has it started yet?
No, I'm not sure. No, I haven't had time to watch any TV recently.
You've been busy building houses?
Yeah, building houses and trying to get ready for turf games. Are you doing turf games?
No, I'm not.
No. You could still.
One of the days it's on, I'm going to see Bruce Springsteen. So that's my excuse why I can't go to
okay, yeah.
I think that's
That'd
the
be
Saturday.
good on the Saturday.
Is Saturday the... What are the divisions? There's elite... every day.
Like
What's the middle
intermediate every day.
Intermediate, that's it. I think that's on the Saturday.
And then there's engine as well.
Oh, yeah.
No, they're good fun, those things. And that's obviously like the pinnacle of like, not pinnacle, but like that's like where it then gets to. There's fun adult sports days. And then there's these like slightly bigger competitions, which you then get signed up for doing. But I think with anything, if you add a bit of competition into it as well, it's still, then that just takes the fun a bit further, you know? I think
it's down to the individual. Some people enjoy the competition part of it, and other people don't.
No, they hate it.
And it's back to with any of these things. There's no sort of one size fits all. It's for everybody to find out what works well for them. Something that they enjoy doing, they feel motivated to do, get some sort of results that they're looking for. I think
that's what I was going to ask you. So would you do any other sports this year? Like, have you got any other things you're going to try? Like, have you done supping? Have you done stand-up paddleboarding?
I have.
You any good at it?
Well, this again was something, in fact, I think it was on the same trip in Miami that I did the CrossFit. So I did a bit, but that was on the ocean, or at least in the bay in Miami. Amazing. So there were waves. I think that's not a good... I think it's harder.
Was it hard?
This is me finding an excuse of why I was no good at it. But I've been canoeing down in Cookmere, down in Sussex.
Okay.
And they do paddleboarding there, so I'm thinking of at some point in the summer.
But there's a place around there, like there's Thorpe, all this stuff in Thorpe near here. You could go somewhere fancy.
You can do this trip in the Cookmere. It's sort of like a 2-hour trip. Up the river, you go up the river for a couple of hours.
Okay.
Stop off at a pub and have lunch, and then a couple of hours back.
Oh, nice.
So that's sort of like a nice half a day, and you get a nice sort of lunch in the countryside.
And then what happens if you get down to the pub with the paddleboard, and then you're like, right, that's it, I'm not getting back. You just call them and they come pick you up. Uber with a board on top of the car. Imagine. Yeah, no, I mean, there's these, it's just made me think of it. There's this cyclist, I can't remember their name, but there's cycling tours you can go on and stuff, and there's these special French name for these guys that basically like take your bike at the end of the day, and they give you like a hot towel, and then they like pack up all your gear for you, and then like move all your gear the next day while you're cycling, and like people talk about it as if it's like the only way to cycle, and then it's like this most fancy thing to have.
And where they do this in France?
Yeah, it's basically like a cycling butler. Yeah, like you have a butler, so as soon as you step off the bike, he's got your trainers, he's got your shoes, he takes your cleats, he cleans your bike. Like, yeah, it's mental. I can't remember the name. The guy editing it will insert right now the name and a picture of a guy.
Right here.
Yeah, right here. Yeah, yeah. But no. So obviously, I do need to try and pick up a few other sports. I think this year I'm going to try a few challenges.
What sort of things do you think you're doing?
Well, I mean, just CrossFit has taken its, like, I think maybe I obviously put a lot of pressure on myself doing CrossFit at points this year, and I've like, I'm definitely feeling the toll in a few parts of my body from CrossFit. So no, I just thought maybe try a few different other, and obviously it's nice to hang out with people. For me, obviously not drinking, it's nice to have other activities that are not building houses.
You're thinking of like team sports? Like, did you play football?
No, I'm not a football. I mean, I have played football, but it's also incredibly good for injuries. Like classic roll your ankle, break your knee. Like
a lot of sports, when you come down to it, are good for injuries. I broke my nose playing rugby.
Yeah.
Nobody said rugby's well, nowadays they do.
Yes, but I mean, you can break your brain playing rugby.
I was only playing it at like school level.
Yeah.
But at some point, there's danger in anything. Like getting up off the couch involves some risk. You just got to balance it and try and do things as safely as you can. And
but I thought, like, okay, golf. Can you swing a golf club?
Can I swing a golf club?
It's not like it's a yes or a no.
Well,
okay, yes, you can.
Can I swing it effectively? I can swing a golf club. I have been to the driving range.
Yeah.
I played a couple of rounds of golf.
Nice.
Um,
You're not going to go buy clubs right now, though.
Actually, I've been thinking about it. Is something. It is something because where I live now, where we take, we have 2 dogs and we take the dogs out for a walk. There's a golf course that we quite often end up sort of walking around, and every now and then there's some benches on this golf course, and you just sort of sit there and watch people playing golf, and it does strike me as something that looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like it might be a bit long, particularly if you're as bad at golf as I probably would be. Like
It's
5 hours
massively
or something.
addictive as well.
But it does look like something that should be a fun thing to do. So I have recently started thinking maybe I should give golf a try.
But and otherwise, what would you give yourself as a challenge for CrossFit this year? Would it be a muscle up? You've got that.
No, I can't do muscle ups.
So this sounds like a plan.
10. Let's go for 10. Maybe I should go for 15. Strict handstand push-ups, unbroken.
Yeah, that's insane.
Toes to bar, I can do a few as singles. I need to fix toes to bar.
Yeah.
Double unders, and
you don't have any double unders. You do.
I do them, but very sporadic.
Really?
I can't. Like if
do
you're in
10?
the open, then you've got to do 100 double unders.
Yeah, no, that
I just
sucks.
can't do it. It would take me whatever time they have for the workout. I just spending all of that time.
Oh yeah.
Trying to do the double unders, and chest to bar. Like more weight. In my division, they don't ever, in the open at least, they don't ever have muscle ups. If they are muscle ups, when you get to my division, they scale that down to chest to bar.
Okay.
So I want to. So that quite almost at least, far as it maybe not the open that they were doing sort of at the tail end of the lockdown. I think they didn't have chest to bar. They didn't have muscle ups, but most opens they have some sort of muscle up, and so for my division that's chest to bar. So my equivalent of getting some sort of muscle up is to do more chest to bars more effectively. I can do one, but I need to be able to sort of knock them out.
Yeah. I think generally having the ability to knock out at least 5 to 20 of most things definitely helps.
And I saw in the programming on Friday, we're doing wall facing handstand push-ups.
That is the thing.
I've never done that before, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's the thing now. It's big. It was in the semi-finals, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Then there's pirouette handstand walks, and there's...
But that's another thing I want to try and do is handstand walks.
Yeah, I think, yes, there needs to be... handstand walks is just... It's literally just... I know this is going to sound stupid, because I'm not by any means good at them, and I could do a little bit.
Okay.
But... Yeah, a little bit, but it's like walking. It's literally like you have to just treat yourself like a toddler. Like you have to put hours and hours of practice in.
And fall over and
all
cry.
the time. Yeah, and fall over all the time and get good at falling over. That was the other trick that somebody said to me. They were like, "Oh yeah, just practice rolling on your head, so at least you then don't bail out, because you don't want to bail out. You want to find that balance point where you're falling forward."
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I think Elle. Who I'm friends with down at New Wave as well. Her handstand walks has just gone like through the roof from the practice she's put in. Yeah, she's now like walking over things and stuff. It's insane.
Nice.
Yeah, and we started it both around the same time, and then obviously I've just
how are you doing?
I've topped off completely. I can't even probably do what I could do like 3 months ago. But the principle is that I think with handstand walks, definitely it's something that you just have to just put the practice in. Right. I think with like muscle ups, same, you can put the practice in, but I feel like you've got a slightly more natural ability to walk on your hands than you would do to be able to just throw yourself over a bar. But maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? Because it's like the amount of time a toddler, like a baby, puts into trying to walk.
They're doing other things at the same time though.
Well, they're being babies,
coordinating how to do what they do with their
legs. But I would say if you put an hour in every day, one, you'll break your shoulder, definitely, because that's another thing, is that you definitely hurt your shoulder doing it. But no, I reckon if you put an hour in every day for 5 weeks, you'd be walking.
All right.
We can try that.
All right.
I had something else I was going to ask you.
We should plan to do that together.
Yeah, more handstand walks.
So that's another thing. I don't know what comparison between sales training and,
Yeah.
and physical fitness and physical activity is accountability. One of the things that helps people be more effective in selling is some sort of accountability of tracking what their actions are, what it is they plan to do, not necessarily the results, like how many deals they closed or what volume of revenue brought in, but doing the activity of spending an hour and doing 15 calls in that hour, or going to a certain number of networking events, or sending a certain number of emails, whatever it is, that you need to have the plan to do it, to measure those actions, but some way of being accountable. And often at work it's with your boss, but it could be to a colleague or a group of colleagues, that you have some sort of collective agreement that you'll share whether you've done those activities you plan to do, and that's an important part of actually showing up and doing the work. And the same is true of physical activity too. Having accountability, committing to doing something, and having somebody that does it with you. I think that's a role that a lot of coaches play for people, is that accountability of telling your coach, here's what I plan to do this week or this month, here's how many days I plan to do work on, here's what I plan to do in terms of sticking to some sort of diet, and just checking in with your coach and just talking about, here's where I succeeded and here's where I didn't succeed, and that being part of, again, it's the mindset of finding some way of motivating you to do those things.
A lot of people think that if they have a personal trainer, they do personal training 1 hour a week, they're committed, they're fully committed, because I'm going to see this guy, I'm going to see him, I'm going to come see Rupert on Thursday, I'm going to do my hour, I'm going to do my 50 burpees, and I'm going to get results. And it's like, no, you are, but you're more likely also going to get results through the week if you were to check in every day and actually try and change that mindset and stay more accountable through the week through many actions. Doing 50 burpees is a good, as you said, it's like making 50 calls, that's one action. But if you combine that with a bunch of other actions and stay accountable to that, like put in that consistency, then I was talking to somebody today about breaking activities down into sort of minute detail. So I think it's on 4th of July, in Brighton Beach, Coney Island in New York, there's a hot dog eating competition, Nathan's hot dog eating competition. And in something like 2000, 2001, something like that, this little Japanese guy showed up, was going to enter this hot dog eating competition. So the competition is, how many hot dogs can you eat in 12 minutes? Whoever eats the most wins the competition. And so little Japanese guy shows up. Everybody else in the competition, really big guys, the sort of people that look like they're into these speed eating competitions. And so little Japanese guy shows up, wins the competition. Not only does he win the competition, so 8 more hot dogs in the 12 minutes than anybody else, up until from somewhere in the 70s until when he did this, I think like 2000 or 2001, something like that. So roughly 30 years. Yeah.
The record had been something like 25 hot dogs.
Yeah.
He showed up. Not only did he win, he ate 50 hot dogs.
Double.
And there's other people, for 30 years that had been the world record. And the way he'd done it is to look at, okay, so sure, how do you do that? You just eat hot dogs more quickly. Yeah, of course. But he looked at every single element of what influences how fast you can eat a hot dog. So eating the bun separately from the hot dog, putting water on the bun so you can squash it down.
Yeah.
How you sort of wriggle around to chew it. And look, he'd studied different ways in which you could chew.
Wow.
And so he'd taken what on the face of it is, put it in your mouth, chew, swallow.
Yeah.
How hard is that? But it doubled.
Yeah.
So I think that's so we use that as an example in sales training, as an example of if you want to improve something, you're not going to do it by simply just finding one thing and getting better at it. You've got to look at all of the different elements of it and think, how can I improve each of these different elements? And that aggregate effect is what makes a difference. And it's the same is true with sort of fitness and health and lifestyle. There's not one thing that's going to fix it. There's lots of little things that you make little improvements to that overall will have the impact in terms of making you sort of fitter and healthier and happier.
Yes, I definitely agree. From everything from a backward, like how to get your first pull up, there's probably like 5 to 10 many other exercises you can do rather than just throw yourself at a pull up bar all day. Yeah. And like you can do negatives, you can do banded, assisted, stuff like that. And then the other bit you were talking about generally with all of fitness is that, the reason why we promote drinking 2 litres of water a day isn't because we want everyone to be so hydrated and they go to the toilet all the time, right? Even though you get extra steps going to the toilet, is that it's like good hydration, like increases your metabolism. It's like increases your body's like fluid rate. You feel good, and you generally like by mentally making an effort to drink 2 litres of water a day, you're mentally thinking like, okay, I'm making a step towards a change, you know, and then you cut out, maybe don't crash so hard on caffeine all the time. So then therefore you can maintain eating your meals better. You don't eat a whole pack of Jaffa cakes at work because you've taken work to lunch because you've done your meal prep. And then it's dodging all those little bullets throughout the week that then, you know, helps you build towards that bigger picture, you know? So I really, have you heard of this aggressive patience one that was going around for a bit? So
patients as in people in hospital, or patients
patience.
A few moments later.
Apart from Lance Armstrong took a load of enhancement helping stuff, but he did change the Tour de France, didn't he? At one point, it was like some of the fastest times that any.
So I don't know specifically, but in cycling, Dave Brailsford, who used to be the head of performance at British Cycling.
Okay.
He used this incremental marginal gains strategy for the British cycling team, and like again, really tiny, minute changes, like taking mattresses with them so that the team were each sleeping on the mattress that they were most comfortable sleeping on, and the pillows that they used in the beds being that each person had the pillow so that they would sleep better, and training them how to wash their hands like surgeons so that they were less likely to get trivial infections like colds and so on, looking at all of the different ways in which you could look at making improvements to the performance of a cycling team, and how that changed and I don't remember the details, but something like in 1 year Britain had won one medal in cycling or something like that, to the year in the Olympics that after Dave Brailsford had made all of these marginal gains, Britain won like 90% of the cycling. I don't know, it wasn't exactly, but something like 80% of all of the cycling medals in the velodrome.
Yeah,
like all of the gold, and all because it became a bit controversial because then some debate whether they were also taking drugs, like performance enhancing drugs. So it's not as compelling a story, and I have no idea whether that also helped, because I think there was one cyclist that got
did he get caught
with some performance enhancing drug. So that deflates the power of that story, which is a shame, because otherwise it's a compelling.
No, but I think it's like Moneyball though. Moneyball's also similar. Like it was all about the stats and it was more about the coming middle if you came. And again, Matt Fraser in CrossFit is very much wasn't like you don't have to win every event, right? Right. But you have to come consistently within the top 3 or 5 in every event. Right. So save your energy on an event where you're not going to win. Yeah, don't kill yourself trying to come second. Just come fourth. Yeah. Save that energy for the next event, and then in the next event come first. Whereas like, you know, I'll also get his name wrong, but like some of my favorite CrossFitters, the Canadians, you know, like Pat Vellner and you know, like always like got big support for him. I'm waiting for that one time, and he's like in first, and he's doing so good, and then he gets to that last cut 10. I think it was shoulder to overheads or whatever, and he just had nothing left. Right. And Medeiros went from 5th, So he's in first in one event. They're like chasing each other. Medeiros is in fifth, and you're thinking, right, this is it. There's no way Medeiros can catch him now. How could he just? What could go wrong? Yeah, he's so far ahead. He's got 10 shoulder to overheads left. Yeah, he's already done 90. He's got 10 left, and that was it. He just crumbled. Like he did 2, yeah. Medeiros did 10. Then he did 1. Medeiros did another 10, yeah. And he's come back from 5th to 3rd, right. And then he's just got 2 left, 2, and he can't pick up the bar because he's done. He's cooked, like completely cooked it. Like that was it. He'd gone so far, and I mean, obviously, I'm not like a full-on like CrossFit analyst specialist of like right. sport, but he went so into it and was like, yes, he was good, and he was right. There is another argument, which is he should have gone full out as much as he knew he could win it. You know, there is that argument to say like you never know when you're not going to win it. You know, like he thought he was going to win it, but
I remember. I think I remember. So this similar. Story, and I don't remember how accurately I remember this story, but one of the Andy Murray had sort of medium success in doing well. I mean, not doing really well, but he was competing in an era when there were a lot of exceptional tennis players, and at one point he switched his coach. He switched to working with Ivan Lendl as his coach. And I remember, I think I heard Andy Murray telling the story, but maybe it was Ivan Lendl. I think it was Andy Murray telling the story that one of the changes that Ivan Lendl suggested. So in the earlier rounds of Wimbledon, Andy Murray just used to think, well, I'm going to win this. I'll play at, I don't know, 70% or something like that, and I'm still going to win. I need to save my energy and my strength for the really tough matches. And one of the changes that Ivan Lendl said to him is, no, stop doing that. Play every match at 100%. And you just develop the mindset of, I am a tennis god. I am slaughtering. And it strengthens, just sort of reinforces that mindset that I just win tennis matches. I win every point. And that was the era that built Murray up to when he won Wimbledon. I think that's the story.
He's a good coach
but
as well.
I should.
You think that's good? Well, I mean, look, it's fine.
I'll check.
Yeah, yeah, you can check and then we can dub it in later if it's the right guy. No, I'm sure it's fine. I think the principle is that either way, get coached or coach it how you're thinking you might need to do it. You got to either go in for the win. You got to have the mindset and like. But I think we also said that marginal gains will be that if you can make small improvements, I think you're going to generally get better.
No, but I think the marginal gains is because there's another completely out of the area, out of the sphere of sport and fitness.
This is when the real podcast starts, by the way. This is normally 45 minutes in. This is when the real stuff happens.
Looking at all of the changes, so the break, what Google did to looking at how people click on ad links, and looking at all of the different sort of minute changes you could make to an ad link, like the font size, amazing, how dark the blue is, and things like that. And with some very empirical evidence to look at all of the different minute ways in which you can change that and how that impacts the effectiveness of ad links on Google. So I think
I did that same experiment, like really, really haphazardly, but I did it for one of my own clips. So I uploaded the same clip onto YouTube, having done very little research on what a YouTube thumbnail should look like and what a YouTube caption should be, because I've been spending most of my time on Instagram. I know more about Instagram and I don't even know anything about Instagram, right? But I had no idea why YouTube is only giving me 500 characters to write my title, how I can't fit in any of my hashtags. I don't know what to say, right? And then it's like, then I watched this video that was like, why is your view? Because the thing about YouTube that is brutal, right, is you get no views. Yeah. You don't even get one, you get none. It will not show, it will just die, right? And there's all this analytics behind it. So I just went, right, you know what? I'm going to put the same clip up, right, to prove that it's not the content, yeah? So I put the same clip up, 2 different titles, and I put one which was like family barbecue with steak, yeah, and like no views. Yeah. Second video was how steak gets you fit. You know, like a terrible title that I did not agree with writing. Right? Like, and then I changed the picture to just a picture of a steak. Yeah, that wasn't even in the video. Right?
And how many views did it
1,500. It's just insane. Like, with it, like, so obviously, yeah, there's.
But
yeah.
is that because people are going onto YouTube and thinking, how do I get fit? So they type into the search box on YouTube, how do I get fit? And so...
Well, Rick was showing me this really cool app as well, this really cool like website which shows you the top trending searches of that week. So if you put in like, if you were to put in sales training, it will tell you the top 10 things salespeople might have searched within that week. You might need to be a bit more specific. So I think if you also put in like cycling, you know, dad cycling, it will show like what were the top 10 things they were looking for while cycling. So was it they were looking for the best seat for a dad, or, and it's got all this analytics behind it, and then you can follow the trails of the searches down. So it will be right, they clicked on this, then 50,000 people went from that search down to this bike. It's like quite next.
Have you tried using
ChatGPT? Love ChatGPT for work, and so I haven't used it for the YouTube. I use it for the captions, yeah, of course. Right. I hated writing. I mean, I like writing captions. I like writing, but it's almost like I can be super creative. I can write terribly. I can be like, ha blah 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 blah, ha blah 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 blah, and then I'm like, and then make it like this, and then could you just put a twist at the end? And then I put it in, I press enter, and it's like boom, and I'm like, whoa, that's what I was thinking. Yeah. But nothing I said came out like that. And you've met me and you've spoken to me, and you can see that I am definitely a guy who likes to get his point across. But the last thing I've got in common with words is ability to use them.
That's not true. but you could use. So I don't know how it's done. My wife has been using ChatGPT recently for search engine optimization, so for keywords. Yeah. To suggest keywords in Google. So I'm presuming you could also get ChatGPT to suggest hashtags or titles for videos in YouTube.
No, you can, but there's also still that aspect that it is just like clickbait. It's like, it's what is going to make you click on a video. It's like sales. It's like, I can tell you like and this is a good way to link back to sales without meaning to, but I can tell you that I've got the best ice cream on the market, right? Yeah, I've got the best vanilla ice cream. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then right, you're like, okay, and I'm like, yeah, fine. And then I said to you, okay, right, I have Haagen-Dazs vanilla ice cream. Yeah. Right. It's made with Madagascar vanilla pods. Yeah.
Sounds nice.
Yeah, sounds nice, doesn't it? It's the same ice cream. Yeah, I don't even know Haagen-Dazs. like my name's Rupert. No, but you know what I mean. Like somebody,
you know that was a made up word.
Is it?
Yeah.
Amazing. Did you watch the Nike one, Air Jordans?
Oh no,
have you watched that?
Somebody recommended it to me.
Oh, I recommend it to you. It's such a bizarre movie as well, because it's like all shot in like 5 rooms, and it's like just a movie about one thing. Literal miniature thing that happened, and it's so big at the same time. It's awesome. It's a really good film. Yeah. I really rate it.
It's on Netflix?
Prime, I think.
Okay, good.
Yeah, they're not sponsoring me yet though. Amazon Prime, can you imagine? No. Lastly though, or not lastly, but one of the things I did want to ask you about sales as well, to give anyone any tips aside from getting 6-packs and like doing CrossFit, is like, what do you think are some of the advantages of if you're selling something, is to sell something within a package? So like, I'm just interested. It came to my mind about.
When you say a package,
so
what do you mean by a
package? say for example, I'm going to say to you that right, you can have cleaning. You can join a gym for a year, right? Mm-hmm. Now, if you pay up front for the whole year, I'll give you 20% off. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or if you pay monthly, it's more. But like what I'm saying is like, when I say, so packages to me would be like bundles. Like what do you think happened about the inception of a bundle, and where do you think like yeah, in sales. Just, it came to my mind earlier, and I wanted to ask your opinion on it. Do you believe in it? Like, do you believe it's better to just work a longer road? There's no quick fixes, really, is what I'm saying.
Yes. I think what people are buying is outcomes,
right?
Not the thing.
Okay.
And so when you're selling something to somebody, I think you've got to sell it in terms of what is the impact they want to have in their life, whatever it is you're selling them. And it breaks down into four things.
Okay.
Usually there are four things, four categories of things that they do. One we sort of refer to as pain.
Yeah.
Which is some problem or challenge somebody has.
Yeah. Problem with
there's
their
either
life. Yeah, they want to lose weight.
Pain now or pain in the future.
Yeah.
That's two reasons people will buy. And the other is pleasure. If it's not pain, it's pleasure.
Okay.
They're looking to get some benefit, and it's either pleasure now or pleasure in the future.
Yeah.
So what people are buying fits into one of those
four.
quadrants. So pretty much anything anybody is selling will fit into one of those quadrants, and you need to understand, how does what I'm selling fit into this world of this person, and understand it from their perspective, not from our perspective. We've got to what we're doing in selling is trying to understand not our reasons for what we're selling, is what are their reasons for buying it. Why does somebody want to buy this? So whether sometimes the answer to that might be a package. Sometimes maybe it's not. Maybe it's a very isolated thing. I think it's it would be too.
Well, no, I was talking to Rick about this. So Rick does hypnotherapy, and he was saying that sometimes with hypnotherapy, it's more about fixing one problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then what you're making me now think about sometimes is when you try and like sell somebody a bundle, or somebody who needs to sell something to themselves, is that they say to themselves when they buy into a fitness transformation or a gym or something like that, they buy into a time frame because they want to see a result.
Mm-hmm.
So they want to see the pain removed now, and they want to see some pain improvement in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So they believe by buying something in a 6 month or a 12-week bundle, they're going to get a measured outcome. Or what do you see?
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think in that context, to use an overused cliche, it's a journey. It's not like you sell them one thing and they're fixed and they're at their outcome. They're looking for sort of a lifestyle change that inevitably takes some time, and usually some time, often of years of wanting to get somewhere and then figure out how to maintain it. And so in that context, I think a bundle makes sense in that at the early stages, they have need for one kind of thing. And that might be quite intense, very, very frequent and very regular.
We did talk
support.
about that. Yeah.
Over time, they may get to a point where they're kind of where they want to be. Now they're on some sort of maintenance
platform
level, so their needs are different.
Yeah.
And so seeing what you're selling to them as supporting them in this part of that stage of their life that isn't a sort of a one and done. You sort of fix it and you're done, great, bye. It's how does that evolve and how does that transition, and how does what you do fit into that? I think that then one could look at that as a package, and say to people at the outset so that they understand where they're on. And so there's this intense period. Usually people start off, they're looking to make some sort of fairly significant impact at this early stage, and so usually what we'll focus on is more frequent sessions together, looking at building some of the sort of the foundations and the fundamentals. Once those are established gradually over time, then typically people are looking for sort of maintenance plans, and so then the frequency typically dials down, and rather than focusing so much on technique, we look at things like building in variety, developing new things so that people don't get bored with what they're doing. There's always something new and keeping things fresh. So you could look at that as
but
a
then
package.
also, so yeah, that's great for, say, how I've related that to fitness and stuff like that. So I also though had another guy on the other day, and a lot of people, PTs, want to help people. So now, like from your sales coaching platform, right, for any PTs that might be watching this, right, there's a lot of coaches out there trying to coach coaches at the moment. There's a lot of people saying you gotta all encompass a package there, because two reasons I'm thinking. Maybe one, you got to believe, like we talked about earlier, you got to believe if you're a salesman and you're not very good at sales, you've got to teach yourself sales skills. So if you teach yourself a script or a package to repeat, then you're giving yourself a routine to get behind. So if I was running boxing classes every week, right, in a park, how would you spice that up? Well, I tried to spice it up with some sales tactics, which was, right, rather than just say I do a boxing class every week on Thursday, it's £7 a week, right? Why not say, look, let's do a 6-week course. It's unlimited classes, because there's 2 classes a week, yeah, right? And you get 50 quid up front. Because what I'm trying to understand is from your sales techniques, more not just for helping people with fitness, is that what I suppose I was trying to latch onto is that when we become formulaic and we give ourselves a routine and we take ourselves seriously when we're like maybe starting a new business or we're starting a new thing, if we almost take ourselves seriously, draw out like a plan, like follow a recipe. Do you find that does actually sometimes help? Like, or have I completely lost you?
I don't know.
That's a good link back to, I don't have to answer that.
I think, so having some structure to what you're selling, helps you, because one of the things when you're having a conversation with somebody about what they're looking for, what their needs are, one of the most important things in that conversation is that you're listening to them and not thinking, what should I be doing? What sort of thing can I, what sort of program can I put together for this person? You need to know there are sort of 3 or 4 typical options that you usually would offer people, so that you don't have to think about those options. You can listen to that person, listen to what problems they're trying to solve in their lives, and listen in a way that's sort of caring and empathetic and understanding. And then together you can figure out, okay, now what you've said, these are typically the sorts of things we do with people. There may be some variation, but these usually fall into one of these sort of 2 or 3 categories. Which of these do we think might fit your needs? Maybe none of them do. So in that sense, having some sort of categories of things that you usually might do with people, I think helps you be more present in that conversation, so that you're not sort of talking to them and they're talking and you're at the same time thinking, what can I put together for this person?
Right. Even so even just by you describing that as a category, I'm thinking it's a bundle. It's whatever I called it before. Yeah. But it's categories. So it's like looking at sales as a journey, looking at somebody, as you said to me before, because we have had chats before and you've coached me on a few things, and it's amazing how you naturally take it all back to that, which is that you get to listen to the person, you get to have a real conversation with them, understand their wants and needs, and then it's easier for you to sort of help them figure out which part of the journey they want to be involved in. So then, really cheesily, but like, what would be literally you're starting up a new business, you're like a carpenter, you're an ice cream maker. Everybody has to sell, and not everybody likes selling. So if I could like super clip this up for somebody, right, what would be like your top I got you there. Your face. You were like, no, not going to do that. Your top 3 things for being better at sales. Simple, just top 3 simple things. If you're not a salesman, why do you get better at sales?
I don't know that there are 3. So
you can have as many as you want, but not too many that it doesn't fit.
It might be that there's really just one. I think fundamentally, the fundamental challenge that comes when somebody's trying to sell something to somebody is people don't like to be sold to. So the more one tries to sell to somebody, the more that act of selling becomes a barrier and gets in the way of what you want that transaction to be. Because when you're selling something to somebody, ideally you just want to have a transparent, open conversation with somebody about what their needs are, when they want it, how much they're prepared to pay, and whether what you do will meet those needs. But all of the sort of obfuscation gets in the way. It's a bit like, I use this example quite a lot in the training, is when people walk into a shop and a shop assistant comes up to them and says, "Hello, can I help you?" Our default reaction is, "No thanks, I'm just looking."
Yeah.
Which is a polite way of saying, "Please leave me alone." But they're not trying to drag us off the street. We've gone into the shop.
Yeah.
And all they're saying is, "Can I help you?" And
Yeah.
our knee-jerk reaction is, "I want to be left alone."
Yeah.
People they begrudgingly interact with salespeople. And so that's the fundamental challenge we need to try and overcome when we're selling to somebody, is how do we get past that? And A, so stop selling.
Okay.
B, figure out your role isn't to sell anybody anything. Your role is to help people buy, which may sound like, well, that's the same thing just said differently, but it's psychologically it's becomes a very different transaction, and just changes the nature of the conversation. And so then figuring out, okay, so now if my role is to help somebody buy from me, what are the sorts of things I should be saying to them, the questions I should be asking that will help them buy from me? And we end up selling a lot more by not trying to sell and just trying to help people
help people buy.
So I don't know whether that counts as 3 or 1.
That was 2. I'd say
All right,
that was
that's
2.
fine.
It was good. Yeah, it was good. It was perfect. And then I can see exactly where to cut it and then put it right together. No, it was good. Sorry for putting you on the spot there. It just comes to me, and it's like, it's always nice to I always think about these podcasts and think, what other key facts can people get from something? They don't just want to always be told how to get fit or go to the gym. I think everybody wants to listen to something. I mean, I was listening to some bizarre podcasts this week, absolutely off the wall stuff I never would have put myself. Some video game thing about how the correlation between dating and video games and violence.
Well, people who play video games don't go on dates.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to just do the, I'm not going to put all that together. But no, there were some correlations between do you need to play a more violent video game if you're in a bad mood or if you're in a good mood? And is it necessarily a correlation between if you were successful that day, would you then therefore play a game that was slightly more? I mean, I don't even have time to play games anyway.
I used to play a lot of Call of Duty.
Did you?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Would you say there's a correlation between Call of Duty and being a good salesman?
No.
No.
I think so. I wasn't like an intensive gamer. I would play sometimes in the evening. I would play for a few hours. And so when you play at that level, you just got to pick a game. You got to pick one game, because if you try and play too many things, you're never. Because the way I played primarily was online.
Yeah.
And if you're not good at it, you just won't enjoy it. So you really just need to pick one game, and that's the game you play. So I picked Call of Duty, and that was the game I played. So no matter whether it been a good day or a bad day or a mediocre day, the game I played was Call of Duty, and I could basically stay alive for some reasonable amount of time before some sort of probably a 13-year-old would run circles around me.
Yeah, no, it is quite there was a lot of stuff of that, and also it's an interesting podcast. I'll send you the link to it. But yeah, no, I think it's always fun just to always get a bit of extra out of whether you come into a podcast because you're this thinking oh, I want to learn more about fitness or getting fit or something like that, and then you're okay, now I got something else out of the day.
I think what you need to do, or any person who has a podcast is, and I'm sure you know this already, is figure out an audience, because you want to build an audience, and so they've got to be interested in all of, or at least most of the podcasts, because otherwise you're just picking up people because you had an interesting topic for that day, and that's not really going to build you the audience. So having a core audience that make a point of they subscribe to your podcast, they download it, and they listen to it, whether they're at the gym or on the train or whether they're driving or wherever. That's just part of their week, is that they regularly listen to podcasts, because it speaks to a general sort of set of issues that they find interesting. Yeah. But I think that fits with, I think you've got a clear idea of the people you want to appeal to with your coaching. the sort of busy dads who got a little unfit, trying to figure out how to get sort of health and fitness into their already busy schedules, and how do they solve that.
Perfect. See, I don't even have to say it myself this week. It's been good talking to you. Thank you for all your time today.
As always.
Yeah, and we could have done this for like another 3 hours. I tell you, there's this golden window at 45 minutes where suddenly the podcast just goes off, and I'm like, I don't know how Joe Rogan and all those guys get it straight to 45 minutes within the first 10 minutes. But no, it's been super fun having you, and yeah, I will see you at New Wave.
Good speaking to you, Rupert.
Cool.